Ahoy, this is Dinka. One of the questions I get on a regular basis every single day is, which smartphone gimbal is the best? And my answer every single day is, there is no one universal gimbal fits all. They are all very different and you are all very different as well. Do you use Apple phone? Do you use Android phone? Do you have a small phone? Do you have a Max phone? Do you need just few features on a gimbal? Do you want all the features on the gimbal? Do you need to film with extra lenses and filters, or do you just prefer a regular easy filming? Do you need a beauty mode? Do you need specific features? Do you see the whole picture now? What might work for me doesn't have to work for you, and vice versa. So what I did, I pulled out 4 different gimbals out of all the gimbals I've reviewed this year in 2020. To me, they're all winners. They're all great, but they're all very different. I didn't review this one, Moza Mini P, but you've seen me filming with it in the Mustang video. So in today's comparison video, be very open-minded. Don't get fixed on a certain brand, but think about yourself, what features you need, what type of filming you're gonna be doing, and mainly what type of phone you actually have. Here we go. I'm gonna be using iPhone 11 Pro, and I'm gonna be also mentioning a lot about the Android because unfortunately there is quite a bit difference with those gimbals and compatibility. Not everything what is available on Apple necessarily works on Android. DJI OM4 versus Moza Mini MX versus, and I do apologize if I'm going to pronounce it incorrectly, I'm not 100% sure if this is how you say that, Aochuan RX versus Moza Mini P. Let's start with pricing. The cheapest is RX, which currently sells on Amazon for $89 American. Next is Moza Mini MX, which sells for $119. Then we have DJI OM4, which is $179. And lastly, here is Moza Mini P, which is different because that one can also be used with mirrorless cameras like Canon M50 and action cameras. It is 3-in-1 type of gimbal, and that one is $279. What is the maximum payload? The most can handle Moza Mini P up to 900 grams. Next we have Moza Mini MX 280 grams, Aochuan RX 250 grams, and lastly DJI OM4 230 grams, but they do have in bracket plus minus 60 grams, so it could be up to 290 grams. I'm going with their paperwork. How is their battery life? You will get the most from Moza Mini MX and Mini P, which will give you 20 hours. DJI OM4 gives you 15 hours, and lastly RX only 8 hours. But this is the only gimbal where you can physically change the battery. So if you have few of those, you can shoot as long as you want to. How is the stabilization? First goes DJI OM4. Here is just hard walk, ninja soft walk with bent knees, and full speed run. Next up is RX, which has 2 options in the menu. You can select anti-shake off or anti-shake on. It will tiny bit crop in though, as it stabilizes further digitally. Next up are those Moza gimbals. First is Moza Mini MX. Since I've made last comparison video, Moza had a major change. They came up with a brand new app which is heavily updated and also simplified. There are now 4 different levels of stabilization. You can do anti-shake off, then standard, cinematic, and extended movie level. Let me quickly run through them. And since Mini P is also Moza brand, using the same app like Mini MX, here's the same test. You be the judge. How is the practical filming experience? I'm an abuser. I push the gimbals to the limits. When I test them all the way. I actually already broke one gimbal. I'm sorry. The company had to send me a new one for a review. All those gimbals have the same modes: follow mode, tilt lock mode, sports mode, FPV or POV, spin shot. They might call them differently, but they are really the same thing. The most freedom I get is with DJI OM4. Whenever I'm moving it in any direction, really moving it, it doesn't vibrate, it doesn't get stuck. When I use monopod, it's not restricting me at all. When I'm working with Moza Mini MX, the same thing. Responses are great. I can do pretty much anything I want. The RX and Mini P are good too, but when I have it in certain mode, like tilt lock mode, and if I move it too much forward, the gimbal is telling me I'm in the wrong mode to do this. If I put it in all follow mode or POV, I can do whatever I want. So with those two, I have to select the correct mode and use it properly. I cannot just go too crazy, otherwise it will vibrate, it will shake. I noticed it when I was using the Mini P and I had it on monopod. I had to be careful with some moves. What is the motor's range of movement? DJI OM4 has the smallest one when it comes to pan, but biggest roll and tilt movement. Moza Mini MX has big pan movement, but smallest roll and tilt. RX and Mini P have both quite large range of motion, frame rates and resolution. If you are filming with Apple phone, iPhone, then all of those gimbals will offer filming in 4K in 24, 30, and 60 frames per second. When it comes to slow motion, the only gimbal which is not going to offer 120 frames per second is DJI OM4. All the other gimbals have filming in slow motion in 120 frames per second and 240 frames per second. So DJI OM4 is the only one which will give you only 240 frames per second slow motion. With Android phones, and this can be also very different from phone to phone. What I always say, go to company's website. There is a compatibility list and they usually have written exactly what you're gonna get with your phone. So with Android phones, you cannot do filming in 24 frames per second on any of these, unfortunately. The only gimbal which will give you everything else like you would get with Apple phone is the Aochuan RX. That one actually will give you everything. DJI OM4 won't get you slow motion, not even Moza gimbals. The only gimbal which will give you slow motion is the Aochuan RX. How about switching lenses on the phone when you're filming and manual filming? With Apple phone, you can do all that with all gimbals apps. You can switch lenses, you can film in automatic and manual mode. With Android, you can only do that with the Aochuan RX. Moza app doesn't allow manual filming. DJI doesn't offer manual filming. You do have to use Filmic Pro for that. DJI OM4 is the only one out of these gimbals on the table compatible with Filmic Pro. However, can we switch gimbals modes in different apps? DJI OM4, no. That means you have to log into DJI Memo every time you want to switch gimbal mode. You can use the record button, absolutely. Moza gimbals, yes. You press the buttons to change modes, but there is no display. You have to memorize what each button can do. Yes, you can use record button in any app. Aochuan RX allows you to change the modes with joystick. The display will clearly mark what mode you are in, and also has this focus wheel, which none of the other gimbals have, but for some reason the record button is not enabled. You have to press record on the screen, and you also cannot use the focus wheel. You do need to use the app from this gimbal. Let's quickly look at those gimbals apps. All gimbals offer time lapses, hyperlapses, photo, video. DJI Memo offers panorama in 240 and 3x3. It has story mode, newly added clone yourself mode, vertigo, beauty filter, and has built-in editing app. You can edit your videos in this app, no need to use something else. You cannot do live streaming there. It doesn't have filters, so you cannot really color grade your videos while you are filming. Moza Genie app doesn't offer panorama, at least I didn't find it there. Story, which are called magic, are here as well. Vertigo, no. There are many filters. Yes for live streaming and yes for editing app. There is beauty filter. Besides switching lenses, you can also film in double wide or 3 shots, only in Moza app. The other ones don't have it. The app is really in-depth. You can also track sound recording and many other things. It does have quite powerful video editing app built in. No need to edit videos anywhere else. AC Play app, offers panorama, 180 degrees, 330, 3x3, and 3x5. Also has story feature, but quite limited. Yes for vertigo, yes for large selection of filters, limited beauty mode, no for live streaming. This one has though, and no other gimbal has, is multi-lens filming. You can record with rear and front lens at the same time. There is no video editing app built in. You need to edit video in another app of your choice. Ultra wide angle filming. Can we see the motor in the shot while filming with ultra wide angle lens? Yes, with all of them except Moza Mini P. Obviously, it's a very different type of gimbal. With all the other gimbals, you can move the phone to the left a bit to avoid the view of motor in the shot. Gimbals will handle it, motors are strong, however the battery will drain faster as it has to work harder because it won't be perfectly balanced anymore. Filming with extra lenses and filters. Can we use extra filters and lenses? With Moza Mini P, absolutely. You can load it all the way up, just load it up. This is very suitable for much advanced filming. With other gimbals, yes, you can use as well, but you have to attach counterweights to balance it properly, and you need to make sure you stay within the limit of maximum payload. DJI OM4 has this screw here where you can just screw it on. With Moza Mini MX, it will be very tricky. As you can see, the motor is very close to the phone. There is no screw, so if you use clamp, like many of you are suggesting, there is really no room to put it in. You would have to clamp it from the front, but you won't see the whole shot. You would have to figure out something else. The RX has a lot of room to add clamp, so no issues there. What do I think about each gimbal and what is my preference? I'm gonna start with DJI OM4. What I love about this gimbal is the build and the fact that it's not restricting me any movement. I can do absolutely whatever I want to do. It's a huge bonus. It is definitely very comfortable when you are filming with this. What I don't like about this gimbal is the app. I don't like that I'm not getting the 120 frames per second there. That's why I'm going always to Filmic Pro. But then when I'm in Filmic Pro, I cannot change the modes of the gimbal there. So I have to go back to DJI Mimo, change the mode, go back to Filmic Pro, and so on. So for that reason, I don't like it. I would say that this gimbal is great for girls. The beauty mode is amazing. It is great for simple filming. If you are doing the manual filming, some simple stuff, it's amazing as well because you can attach the counterweights and all that. This gimbal is great for Apple phones, for iPhones, absolutely. It's not that great for Android phones there. The app will restrict you quite a bit. Next up is Moza Mini MX. I'm loving this app of this gimbal. It doesn't make me feel I want to film in any other app. It's got pretty much everything. It is great for Apple, but again, limited for Android. Missing panorama is surprising, unless I really overlooked it. It's amazing gimbal if you don't need filters and extra lenses. I'm totally in love with the double wide and 3 shots filming mode though. Again, a bit tricky to add counterweights if you really want to film with extra lenses. Live streaming is great, even though I don't live stream, not yet. I'm simply still too scared of you. Aochuan RX would be one of my choices. The reason I'm thinking so highly about this gimbal is obviously the focus wheel. It doesn't make me want to go film in any other app. All I need is AC Play app. You can change battery, you can balance it with clamp. There is room. I like the multi-lens filming. You can fully customize it. I don't have the need to go to Filmic Pro. I don't. I can switch the modes by pressing the joystick button and I can actually see what mode I'm using directly on the gimbal. I like the most that everything what Apple gets, most of it actually Android users get as well, except 24 frames per second. And the price, really, nobody can beat that. This is half of the DJI OM4 price. It's almost too good to be true, that price. The only thing I don't like is that I cannot do the spin shot in both directions and I cannot do it manually that it does on its own. I see this for basic filming and more advanced filming. Somebody asked me a question if the app does recognize anamorphic lens. No, it doesn't. But what I normally do, I film with anamorphic lens in any app I want and then just squeeze it in a post in Adobe Premiere Pro. Moza Mini P is expensive, but if I would be someone who also films with mirrorless camera like Canon M50 or M6 Mark II and action camera, it would be no brainer. Why would I buy, if I would be on a budget and I also traveled because it's light and small, different gimbal for the mirrorless camera and different gimbal for smartphone? It would be only wise choice to do. The Moza Genie app is awesome, no doubt there. You can even film in Filmic Pro because you can change the gimbal modes with buttons, but the rest unfortunately you have to tap on the screen. I can add any extra lens and filter I want, balance it easily. I had an absolute blast filming with the Mustang video. For me, for my type of filming, this is amazing. But I'm gonna review this gimbal properly with mirrorless camera M6 Mark II, so subscribe if you're not subscribed already so you don't miss the video. This was my very honest look on all those gimbals. I'm actually gonna go ahead and place all the individual reviews of those gimbals in a playlist. So if you are still looking for some answers, hopefully those videos will help you. All I have to say now is hit the thumbs up if you like this video and subscribe to all future videos like these. I think it's been enough of reviews of those gimbals. I still have to do that one, but it's time to get moving and start filming finally, use them in the real world. So a lot of behind the scenes videos are definitely coming up. If you have any questions, comments, simply want to say hi or ahoy, you know what to do. Leave it in the comment section below and I'll see you, my friends, in the next video. Stay well, stay healthy.